Hello everyone, my name is Anwar Jumaboy and I'm here to talk to you about the unboxed world. Now, we all know what a box is, right? So the box is designed to keep things inside and to stop the stuff that's inside from getting out. But essentially what a box represents is limits. So it places limits around what can be done and what cannot be done. Today, entrepreneurs are building what I call the unboxed world. In other words, they are removing the limits, the top, the bottom, the sides. The unboxed world is going to bring disruption. And some of that you've seen, right? The internet, the way we look for information, the way we decide what to do. We have already got glimpses of the unboxed world. And recently, I actually even ventured into the kitchen. So I tried to cook a dish, something I've not done in many, many years. In fact, I haven't done it since I was at university. When I was at university, and if you wanted to cook something, you called your mother and she gave you a recipe, and you know the recipe was good. Otherwise, you went to the bookshop and bought a book or picked up a magazine and then you worked. So in the boxed world, you really didn't know whether the recipe was right or wrong, what people thought about it. The unboxed world means access to lots and lots of information. And when you have access to lots and lots of information and limits are removed, you get disruption. And this disruption is being built today by entrepreneurs. I would like to share with you three waves that I see coming that are going to disrupt your world. The first wave that is coming is the wave which I call how do you learn? Now, it used to be that when you wanted to learn, like the recipe, or when you wanted to get a university degree, you enrolled in a program, and the program content was prescribed, right? There was a minimum, there was a maximum, and you had access to the content, and then you were tested and exams were put in for you to understand where you stood amongst everybody else. So minimum and maximum. You went to the library, there were a fixed number of books. In the unboxed world, there are no limits to what you want to learn. You can learn in little chunks, you can learn in big chunks, you can learn 20 minutes a day, you can learn an hour a day. How you learn has become unboxed. And what are the implications? What are the implications to the universities? You know, they set this curriculum about 500 years ago. I'm just kidding. You know, the curriculum was set some time ago. Now you can choose what you want to learn. There's going to be an impact on the universities. Will you want to go for 3 years or 4 years? Or will you just want to learn as you work? Learning has become unboxed, and the implications for universities are huge. Will they need a campus? Will they get so many people coming together? Will they need one economics professor in each university? Or will they share three economics professors across 20 universities? So how you learn is the first wave, and it is going to have major implications. The second wave that entrepreneurs are bringing on is how are you going to work? It used to be that you hired resources that were near you, or you got permission to hire resources from outside who would come and live and work in your company. And they would work from 9 to 5. Perhaps some companies don't even know whether they were productive. But as long as they were there from 9 to 5, you were happy to pay them. Look what's happened today. You can hire resources from anywhere in the world. Your employees can be sitting in Poland, in Estonia, in Indonesia, in Philippines, in India. This is the unboxed world. where there are no limits to who you can hire and where they can work. Will this have an impact on offices? Of course it will. You don't need to provide office space. Heck, you don't even need time cards. You don't need those machines. You don't need to track how many hours work. Because in the unboxed world, what you are tracking is output. Every employee will be paid based on their output and not their hours. That's a paradigm shift. So how you work is going to change how companies are organized and how a country is going to react. Will they need to issue work permits? Will they require you to declare every outsourced employee you have? And will people then still hold full-time jobs? Perhaps they won't hold full-time jobs. Perhaps everybody will work in different places at different times. What is the implication going to be on the banking system? Banks are used to giving loans to full-time employees. If you want a house loan or a car loan, you have to show you're gainfully employed for some number of years. Will the banks be able to adapt? Will you be able to get a loan if you're a gig worker? Banks today have enough full-time employees to lend money to. What happens if the world only has gig workers? How are banks going to react? So the first wave is how you are going to learn. The second wave is how you are going to work. Work permits will be redundant. Our country is going to give incentives to companies who hire people down the road. What is going to happen to salary levels? Will they normalize around the world? So how you learn has already become unboxed. How you work is becoming unboxed. And the third wave that's going to hit is where and how you will invest. In my generation, we invested in physical assets, a house, gold, and other physical assets like stocks and shares that paid dividends. Today, does it make sense to invest in those assets? It was difficult in the past. In the boxed world, it was difficult to send money, to open an account, to invest in a company that's outside your border. There were all sorts of restrictions. Today, with the apps, with the robo-advisors, you can invest anywhere in the world. And if there's a problem to send money out, heck, just buy some cryptocurrency and use that as a transfer mechanism. So in the unboxed world, how you invest and how wealth managers will adjust is going to mean a major disruption. Today you can invest as little as $100 a month and you can buy fractional shares. Oh, and the $100, you can actually spread it across different portfolios of investment types. Unimaginable in the boxed world. So how you live, which is how you learn, how you work, and how you invest are three major waves that are going to hit you. All these waves are driven by entrepreneurs. And so what I'd like to share with you, and it is from my book, are the 9 principles of successful entrepreneurs. These are principles, these are traits, these are learnable skills. And what I like to say is that entrepreneurs are not different people. They just do things differently. And many companies have learned this, and many companies have adopted this entrepreneurial way of working. But there are still a whole bunch of companies that have not. And if you have not adopted these entrepreneurial principles, the 3 waves that I talked about, they're going to hurt. Since talking with companies and working with companies, I find that there are 3 underlying values that a company needs to adopt. And these 3 values are what I call the 3 R's for success. The first R is respect. respect your people, trust your people, allow them to experiment, respect your customer, understand that he has options, respect him enough to know what he wants and how he is changing. The second R is recognize. Recognize what your capabilities are. Recognize the customer is evolving. Recognize that you need to evolve and recognize that you will make mistakes, but you will learn from them. And the third R in the 3 R's for results is reward. Reward your people for trying. Reward your people for bringing up ideas. Reward them for their efforts. Of course, reward them for their successes. But if you reward them for your learnings, you will find a path to success in the unboxed world. The unboxed world is going to reward not the people that are getting ready, but the unboxed world will reward people who are ready. People and companies need to understand this. If you'd like to know more, please call me. My name is Anwar Jumaboy.